Have you ever been pressured into doing something you weren't willing to do? Maybe by someone who's been abusing drugs and is trying to pass it on to the next.
Drugs are one of the main reasons people are dying. When drugs are taken into the body, they can affect you physically and or psychologically.
Try sitting down.
Maria, did you know that death rates from drug overdose from people ages 15 to 24 have actually increased by 19.75% from 2006 to 2015? That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Wow.
Wow. And the numbers are drastically increasing.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. My name is Keith Reynolds, and I'm 33 years old.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Well, I grew up here in Shelby County. Actually went here to Shelby County High School. Graduated in 2005, and ended up, after high school, got a job with Toyota Motors, and did that for 10 years. And after 10 years of working in the automobile manufacturing world, I decided to do a career change. So in 2015, I went back to school. I got my real estate license, and I started selling real estate. So I've been doing residential real estate now since 2015. And so in that journey, it took me from living in Lexington back to Shelby County, and then now, of course, I live in Jefferson County. So anyway.
What made you want to switch careers?
I mean, Toyota was great, pay was great, benefits were great, but it was just kind of some mindless job. Kind of felt dead end. And so I wanted to, well, part of what made me go into real estate was when I was 22, I bought my first home and had a bad experience. And from that experience, I don't know, it gave me like a passion to get into real estate. Just to kind of help people not to have to go through the same experience I went through. So that's what kind of was my motivation and drive. That and like financial freedom.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you work a 9-to-5 job, like whatever you make is what you make. You know, if you work a lot of overtime, yeah, you can make a little extra, but you know, with real estate, I was able to, you know, if I work hard, make a business plan, stick to that plan every year on the end, you know, I could make my income go up, which so far has been the case. So that was another factor that was kind of my motivation to go in that path.
Okay.
And well, okay, Matthew was, you know, he's my cousin, and he kind of came along a little bit later in life from my uncle and aunt. Their kids were pretty well either grown or half grown by the time he came around. So Matthew was always a good kid growing up. I mean, always, you know, never caused any problems or anything like that. But as he got older, you know, there was things that happened in their home that there were, well, let me take that back. There were things that were allowed to take place in their home that kind of exposed him to that lifestyle at a young age, and in my opinion, my perspective, like that's kind of part of what built up to go in that route.
Was it the lack of discipline?
Yeah, very much so. There was really no discipline there whatsoever. So, you know, he was kind of could just do as he wanted, you know, as he pleased. But then when he started using, you know, it was just, I don't know, it was crazy. It was like he totally transformed as a person. He went from this like always fun to be around, like, you know, life of the party kind of person to stay in his room, never come out. He'd go up there, he never come out. He stayed back there. For him, it was, he's just like, I've actually lost 2 cousins in 6 months from the same addiction and the same drug. You know, for them, all it is, it's about the high. You know, it kind of helps them escape the reality, I guess, is what it does. I don't fully understand their mind process on that, their thought process, but it seems like, you know, when you would do Christmases and stuff with him, you know, it was like, how quick can we get this over with so he could get back to either his drugs or his friends that were
Yeah.
that were
So
in
it
the.
really affected his entire lifestyle.
It pretty well controlled everything about him.
Yeah.
But then he was very unique at the same time. Like, even though he was like that, once he hit rock bottom and wanted to get clean, like that became his focus. Like, he wanted to get clean, he wanted to stay clean. But
What made him want to get clean? Was there like something that happened?
there was a couple things. One, him ODing this time wasn't the first time that happened. Like, he come pretty close, time or two before. So that kind of scared me. And then partially what got him was the fact that he got busted. Got pulled over, cops found heroin in his car, and so therefore that was kind of his motivation to try to get clean. So they tried multiple things. Like, here locally, they tried going to Open Door Hope to help him get clean. It was never my opinion to go there. Nothing against Open Door Hope. In my experience of being around family members that deal with addiction and dealing with addictive personalities, I think you have to pack up and you have to get as far away from where you're from as possible if you're going to stay clean and get clean, because you have to get away from the source.
And you have to change. You have to change yourself.
Exactly. So Matt did the Open Door Hope, and while he was there, he was staying clean. So he had that accountability. But then he got out, he got a job, and he was doing good. But then, there was something in him that just triggered, he wanted to go back and get that high. So either relapsed again. There he was, trying back out again. Went from being this bubbly personality to going to his room, don't come out, just stay to himself. And then finally, about 10 months ago, his sister, her and her husband they have a farm out in Oregon. Of all things, it's a pot farm. So, but they took him out there to work and to get clean. And
Took him to a pot farm.
yeah, isn't that funny? It's the most ironic thing ever. But while he was there, he was clean. While he was there, he was, because he did what he needed. He did what I thought he needed to do. He got up and he left here and got as far away as he could. I didn't know it was going to be a pot farm, but that's where he ended up at. So anyway, he got out there. He stayed clean. Was doing well, doing very well. Was learning trades. He was learning how to do carpentry, because it's not just dealing with the plants. Like, they have to build greenhouses, barns, whatever it is they need, they have to build those things. So he was learning a lot of those those trades and stuff while he was out there, and it really gave him something to look forward to, because now, instead of every day focusing on his high, he was focusing on the task that was before him that he had to get done that day, because now he didn't have his mom and dad to fall back on to keep a roof over his head and take care of him. It was his responsibility. So,
And if you wanted to add on, if anybody else is still on drugs in your family, or if that helped impact your family.
yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're
I'm
good.
so
You're
sorry.
good.
What the heck, Miss Smith?
Sorry.
Okay, so whenever he was coming back.
Okay, yeah. So, and I'll kind of add to this because there's kind of a build up to that.
Okay.
So I had actually ran into one of his friends at Walmart. I stopped at Walmart here in Shelbyville. I ran into one of his friends back a little after Thanksgiving, and they had told me hey, Matt's coming in to surprise his mom and dad for Christmas. I was like, oh, well, that's awesome. And then a couple days later, it was a week or so later, I was down at the county clerk's office, and Matt's sister actually works. One of his other sisters works down at the county clerk's office, and I saw her, and I was just kind of playing dumb. I was like, oh, is Matthew coming in for Christmas? And she was like, yeah, actually he is. And I was like, oh. And that's when she said, she was like, I just don't feel good about it. She's like, I don't think he's been gone long enough. So I really didn't think about it. So anyway, Matt gets here on, I think it was like a Monday. I don't remember my days. But anyway, it was like 3 days before Christmas or something. It was like 3 or 4 days. And anyway, so his brother-in-law was the one who really kept him accountable out in Oregon and kind of was over his shoulder all the time. And anyway, they were sitting at Matthew's parents' house, and they start giving the brother-in-law, Daryl, a hard time, picking on him, saying, calling him GPS and calling him a Nazi and all this stuff because, he wouldn't let Matthew out of his sight. But the agreement was that Matthew would not get out of his sight. So finally Daryl said, hey, I'll let you have your day to yourself. He's like, you go play basketball out at the park, but you call me when you're back here tonight. And so anyway, Matthew goes plays basketball. He, I think he had like $1,100 in his pocket that they let him come back here with. And anyway, when he got back home that night, he went to the bathroom because for some reason, whenever he would get his high, he would always want to go take a bath. I don't know what that's about, but apparently that was like one of the indicators to like watch for him. If he started acting weird and then like made his way to the bathroom and started running the bathtub full of water, I don't know what that was all about, but anyway, so that's what he did that night. And his mom noticed he hadn't come out of the bathroom in a while, so she knocked on the door. There'd been no answer, so finally she just bust through the door, and that's when she found him in there, like face down in the water, and realized that he had OD'd. So that was the next phone call that the brother-in-law and the sister got, was that had happened, and really made Daryl feel guilty. He felt like he was responsible for that, when in reality he was not, because as sad as addiction is, you still consciously make that decision to do what you do, and
You control those decisions
yeah.
too.
And if you die doing that, you die at your own hand. Although I would like to see some laws enforced for the people who are doing it, but I still don't think that they're 100% to blame for the people who die from it, because they're still making that decision. But yeah, it's just crazy to think that you could not touch it for 10 months
And just feel the need
and just
to do it.
feel the need to do it.
Did he impact other people's lives too?
A lot of people, yeah. So at the funeral, his funeral was at Shannon's funeral home here in Shelbyville, and I mean the whole back chapel area was just packed full of people. It was a big funeral, and there was just story after story from people who are obviously clean, that have a history of being strung out themselves. And they talk about how Matt would talk with them, would listen to them, never pass judgment, and they give him credit for them getting on the path of getting clean. And there was just countless stories like that of where he impacted those people. And if it wasn't those people, it was like coworkers. Coworkers showed up and talked about how he impacted their lives, how they could have a cruddy day, but yet Matt could put a smile on their face, So, his journey definitely changed my outlook on an addict, because, before I was guilty myself of being a little judgmental toward it because I didn't fully understand it. I always thought, it's, they make that choice, they do that, but there's definitely something that's rooted deeper in addiction that I don't still to this day understand, but it taught me definitely not to pass judgment, because
You never truly know.
I've never had their battle.
Yeah.
I've never had their battle.
During our research about what these harmful drugs can do to your body, we came across these photos of people before and after their drug use.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Why are you wearing a jacket? You're inside.
Oh. Actually looks good. Like, just to make sure, like, the placement, you know? So that looks good right there. And then, okay. What do I say? Ow! Oh! My weenus! Drugs.
Excuse me, sir. Are you okay? Yeah. Why are you outside? It's cold.
I just neighbors. No, I'm nothing. Hey, you got $1 I can borrow?
No.
Oh, I didn't know if you knew anybody. What do you want?
I was making sure you're okay.
I'm good.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Do you
Here's a
need
man. I need. Okay, I just need 8 ball.
8 ball?
I need 8 ball.
Is that your dog barking?
Yeah.
I'll tell you when to go.
Okay.